4.25 inch 1911 double stack. I am under the weather, so if I sound a little nasally or start coughing or something, please bear with me. I do apologize. So in this video, we're going to go over the parts that are on this build and a little bit of my philosophy behind the gun. So we'll start at the top and work our way down and around. So this is just a standard 4.25 inch, which is a standard commander length slide. On top we have an Aimpoint ACRO P2. We have a forward control design reinforced battery cover. We have the Springfield optic plate for the Aimpoint ACRO. We have an EGW reverse, I don't know the name of it, but flush fitting recoil spring plug. I have removed the full length guide rod, and there is a, I believe it's 14-pound Wolf recoil spring with a commander length Nighthawk custom guide rod. There is a Harrison design hammer, sear, disconnect, hammer strut, and hammer pin. There is an EGW thumb safety, EGW version 2 slide stop, so it is a little bit wider. As you can see, you can get a really good grip on it. I do have the version 1. It's basically just the standard length of their regular 1911 slide stops. This is a Everglades solid trigger. Obviously Surefire X300. There is an EGW grip safety, which is tool steel. There is an EGW steel mainspring housing. There is a 10/8 performance base plate on a Staccato Gen 3 magazine. You can see metal mainspring housing. And I believe that's it as far as parts go. There is still a couple parts that I'm going to add and change, but that is the majority of them. So the philosophy for this build was more so kind of a defensive carry-esque aesthetic. I see a lot of people customize their Prodigies and they look great, but they are a little bit too gamer race gun. For me personally, I like a little bit more of the traditional aesthetics. Excuse me. So with this build, I kind of built it not only for carry, but also for shooting USPSA. Since it's not 100% built out yet, and the holster that I want is not yet released, I'm just kind of waiting in the wind. So I've just been slowly working on this project little by little. All the parts were installed by me. I do take gunsmithing classes in my spare time, so I have a little bit of an unfair advantage as far as making this gun run. A lot of people talked about reliability issues on theirs, but I did reliability work on mine, and I've never had any problems. And I did not shoot it before I did the reliability work, so I don't know if I got one who was a problem child or not, but I probably have 250, maybe 300 rounds on this so far, just kind of plinking and having fun. Haven't had a single malfunction. It's a great shooting gun. Some of the questions I've got on my Instagram about this gun is, would I buy it again? Would I buy it over a Staccato P? Would I recommend people to buy it? A lot of those are sort of subjective questions. I could have bought a staccato P, and I still plan on buying a staccato P. So that's worth mentioning. But why I kind of leaned in this direction when I initially bought it is, one, I enjoy working on this stuff, so I knew that if I got one of these, I would be able to tinker with it in a way that with a staccato, there's really nothing to mess with, which is great. And that's a con of this gun, and a pro of the Prodigy, or excuse me, of the staccato, is if you want something you can enjoy right out of the box and take it straight to a match, or take it straight into a duty holster or a concealed carry rig, and it just work, you want a staccato P. If you are willing to roll the dice, and maybe you get a problem child, maybe you don't, if you're like me and you have the ability to make it run reliably, it's a great option, and one that I would recommend. As you see this built here, I still have less money after changing all these parts than a standard staccato P with no options. If you just went and bought one, came with the 2 or 3 mags they come with and nothing else, I still have less money to include everything you see in the picture. Would that be the same if you had to pay somebody to install these parts and do reliability work on it? Probably not. But it is neat that you can have something that's a little bit unique. And me personally, like I said, I'm not knocking the staccato. I still plan on buying one, and I'm looking forward to it. And will probably carry it more than I carry this. But I prefer the look of this Prodigy over the staccato. That's just personal preference. Your mileage may vary. But as someone that does shoot 1911s a lot, one of the selling points for me, or tipping points, or whatever you want to say, was that it had a standard length slide. Whereas the staccatos, they've done research and they've figured out kind of what their ideal for how they want to set the guns up, barrel lengths and stuff are, and they are unique. And so when you have to replace recoil springs, you are having to purchase a proprietary part. Where me, I removed the full-length guide rod because I'm not a huge fan of them, and put a standard recoil spring guide rod setup, because this is a great example. On my workbench, I have recoil springs laying around for my 1911s, and they work in this. And so that's kind of a nice, capability to have for a gun. If you're going to be running it a lot, is if you can keep parts on hand that can work across platforms, to me, it's just a value add. And so it's nice to me when in my, range gun boo-boo kit, and I keep 1911 parts. It's nice that things like the recoil spring will, and I guess really technically even slide stops really, but not that I think that the EGW one will break because it's tool steel. But I say that to say this: it's nice to have that sort of, I don't want to call it backwards compatibility, but backwards compatibility. So that is nice. That is a perk if you're a 1911 shooter and you have parts on hand to have a Prodigy. I did originally have a different thumb safety on it, and my advice to you would be, if you're going to change it, I have medium hands. I mean, nothing super big, but this EGW paddle is a little bit wider, and it's easier to use it as a gas pedal. Whereas the other one I had, I felt like, because it was a little bit thinner than this, I felt like my thumb was always on the side of it like this, and I really couldn't use it as a gas pedal. Same with the EGW slide stop. The version 1, it was basically standard length or width, and so it was a little bit harder to manipulate than this. You can definitely get a really nice purchase on it, but I do have a single side safety, just a preference. But I'm starting to ramble. I just kind of wanted to show this build off since I got so many questions about it. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer, I don't want to ramble and make this one super long, so feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I'll either make a video response or I'll reply to them. I appreciate all the engagement on the other videos and appreciate all the follows, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.